Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be our first episode of the short game series I'm going to be releasing. So Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and a bunch of other great players have all been quoted as saying that the short game is a mini version of the golf swing. And to go even further, the putter is a mini version of all of that. So everything is essentially an extension of the putting stroke. And today, you're going to learn the most important short game skill that you can have, which is short chipping. All right, so in my hands, I have two different clubs. One is a Vokey SM9 56 degree with an M bounce. Essentially has a little bit of offset, has a nice little grind on it. As you can see, you can really do a lot with it, right? You can open it, you can close it, you can hit down, you can slide the club under. It's got a lot of cool features to it. And in my other hand, I have an Arias M29 or MS29 lob wedge. Now, this club has a lot less bounce. So as you can see, there's a ton of bounce here, whereas the Arias wedge only has about this much bounce. Now it does extend because of the underside, the belly of the wedge is smoothed out, but the bounce only comes out to about here. And notice too, there's no real grind on here like there is here. We have a grind right here that essentially allows us to open the axis of the club and close it. It gives us a lot more versatility. So for those of you out there, we're going to work with both of these wedges. We're going to talk about the simplest shot in golf, which is the short chip. Now, I have a pin here, and we have some good rough. So we're going to hit a couple out of the fringe, a couple out of the rough to this short pin. And we're just going to talk through short chipping, why it's so important, what kind of stats you need as a recreational golfer, and the best way to achieve them. So stick around, it's going to be a lot of fun. And we will talk a little bit of technique, but understand this is just an extension of the full swing. So technique to me is something you have to develop yourself based on your golf swing. All right, so in front of me we have essentially, we'll call this about a 10-yard chip. Just enough rough. I don't really want to putt through this. There's a little hole right here. It's kind of bumpy. You know, you're not going to really have a chance at making it. And in my hand I have my Arias lob wedge, which is a leading edge type of club where you're going to be hitting it much like Jordan Spieth or Phil Mickelson with the hinge and hold method, right? We really want to use that leading edge to clip the ball clean to get a little bit of spin like so. That gives us control and gives us an opportunity to make the chip, to actually put the ball in the hole. Okay, notice just a little bit of check there. Pretty good stuff, right? Now if we come back here, we hit out of the rough and we use that same technique. I want you to notice we're going to get a little bit more roll. A lot less check, a little more roll. It's not quite what you want when you're in a little deeper rough because you can't really get that club head on the back of the ball and impart the spin you want in the same fashion. Now, that got lucky. It did get, but there wasn't much grass behind the ball, so we got away with that. But just understand, from around the green, short chipping, using the leading edge works great out of the fringe, but not so great out of the rough. So that was the MS29, again, a leading edge style club. Whereas this, now we're going to use our SM9. We have a lot more bounce, we have more grind to work with. Let's talk a little bit about how we would use that. The beauty of a club like this is there's still great versatility because you can hit the leading edge chip, but when you get to the rough, you can use it to slide through the rough with the bounce, which is one of the modern things about golf clubs that's really cool. So here's our 56 out of the fringe. Again, leading edge chip, nice and simple. Little check, roll out, tap in distance, right? Well, that was a little strong, but maybe something like this. There we go. So nice and controlled, little tap in there, easy stuff, right? Now, if we go to the rough, let's actually put this down a little bit so we got a little grass behind the ball. Beautiful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the bounce, which essentially is opening the face and sliding the club sideways like so. So that's our technique. If you watch my chipping geometry video or my plane geometry video on chipping, you guys know that even though we're going to swing left at the target because our club face is pointed at the target, we're actually going to put a little spin on it and it'll go straight, just like so. Go in the hole. So now we have more control, right? More versatility out of a little bit of rough with a club like this. We could still hit down on it, but now it checks. That was a little hard, obviously, but you guys get the idea, right? All right, so let's take a look at what it looks like to hit out of the rough with a leading edge style chipper. Okay, low bounce. So in other words, that had 8 bounce. This probably has 4 to 6. Maybe even less. Can't be 100% sure. But notice when I open the face up, it still slides through. There's just a little bit of grab. And the more we open it up, the more it slides. So now we have the ability to hit very high shots. So in other words, we don't really want to use this club in this fashion where we're hitting a lower trajectory spinner. We want to kind of use it to hit under the ball, like so. And then we just let it kind of hop and trickle out. Let's hit a couple more here. Let's get it down in the rough so you guys can kind of see. And notice too, a little bit of grass on the ball there. So you're not going to be able to impart a ton of spin with a club like this, but you're going to use trajectory to control shots. So if you like going high, this is a great club because it's not going to go far once it lands. That came out a little hotter than I expected, but let me focus on the landing spot here so you guys get a good idea. There we go. So as you can see, it takes 1, maybe 2 hops, then slightly rolls out. 1, 2, rolls out right next to the pin, okay? So that's how you would use a leading edge type club, where you're going to essentially turn the axis and swing across the ball to pop it up in the air so it stops next to the hole. All right, now that we've established that there are a couple of different wedges that you can use, now what we have to do is we have to talk about which wedge is right for you as a student and why you should go with specific types of wedges, i.e. one with no offset versus one with offset, lots of bounce, lots of different variety. So if you're an advanced player, I'm going to recommend you go with a Vokey or something along those lines, unless you love going high. If you love going high, you're going to want to play something with a little less bounce, something that really has a nice grind on it that will allow you to open the club face up and really get underneath the ball. Okay, so for those of you out there that are playing Vokeys, stick with it, don't change it. But for the rest of this video, we're going to be working with my lob wedge, which again is the RES M29. It's a great club, incredible feel, nice soft metal, just pure around the greens. But again, I like going high. The more I've played golf, the higher level I've gotten to, the more I realize the importance of going high more often than going low. It's not to say you shouldn't go low as often as you can. It's just saying that on the greens that I play on that are hard, lots of slopes, going high is a huge benefit. It gives me a lot of control, and it gives me a lot of feel, a lot of ability to hit it close to the pin. So as you can see, we're out of the rough here, kind of sitting it down in this little, I call it a little bird's nest here. We got a downhill running away chip. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm practicing a mid-trajectory shot, landing it about 2 to 3 feet on the green, letting it roll out, just like so. Didn't quite roll out on that one, but that's fine. So the importance of what I just said has probably been overlooked, so let me repeat the most important piece of it. I always want to land my chips, always, 1, 2, 3 paces at most onto the green. That gives me a little margin of error to land in this area without hitting the collar, and a little margin of error to go long if I clip it good and have a little spin on it so I still have a makeable putt. Okay, especially out of the rough. So every now and then, this will be a good lie for that because the rough's kind of, I've cut it down a little after a few chips. I'll catch this a little better, it'll fly a little further, but it'll check, it'll stop. Just like that. So as you can see, it's still within that 3-foot range, even though it flew a little bit further. And then and occasionally you get one that sits up like so, and you slide under it, lands a little bit short, but because you didn't get spin on it, it rolls all the way out like so. Again, in the 3-foot range. All right, so we've covered chipping club design, specifically what you should use around the greens. Now again, I use the lob wedge with low bounce, great grind, and a tight, sharp leading edge. So I have versatility for the 3 shots that I play, which is low, medium, high trajectory, and it also gives me the ability to work it right to left, left to right. Now, I need all those shots. I need basically 6 to 9 windows chipping around the green on the slopes that I play on, including trajectory, right? If you're just, let's say, a recreational golfer, really what you need is one skill, and that's the short chip, which is, in my opinion, the Jordan Spieth, Phil Mickelson method, which is the hinge and hold. So let's go through that. So again, just a little too much fringe to putt through. We want to land it 1, 2, roughly 3 faces on. So a little short is fine, a little long is fine. We want it to roll to the cup, stop no more than a foot or 2 past the hole. That is our goal, okay? There are a lot of ways to do this, but for most golfers, what I see, you guys never practice correctly. So today we're going to teach you how to practice. First club I'm going to set up is my short club. The next club I'm going to set up is my finish club. Notice, I have a huge area to land the ball in. It's very simple. Anybody can do this drill. You don't need alignment sticks, you don't need anything spectacular. Your only job is to land it over the top of this stick and stop it before the next stick. If you can do this on the golf course, you're going to score well. So that would be a fail. Okay? And again, that stick is roughly 2 feet behind the hole. It barely touched it. I'd be okay with it because I was aggressive on the chip. But the goal is right there. Something simple. And I even chunked that, which is fine for demonstration purposes. Okay? Same with this. Of course, that went too far, so that's a fail. That's too short, that's a fail. So, first thing I'll tell you, most important thing, imagine landing it on your landing spot. That's all you're going to think about. I don't want you to think about technique or any of that crap. If you're thinking about technique, then you need to be working on technique. This is not a technique drill. A technique drill would be an alignment stick here, an alignment stick here, and your working path and contact. Make sense? So from here, I see my landing spot, I see my trajectory, and I'm just thinking about landing it on my landing spot. That would be a pass. In fact, that's about as perfect as it gets without going in the hole. I'm gonna do it one more time. Landing spot. Okay, just barely touched the hole, so we're gonna allow that. Same here. Only difference is I see a little higher trajectory. Just like so. Go in. Oh, almost. Let's try it from here. One more time. Same thing. And probably a fail there, but pretty close, right? So after you do a few of these, right, 2 from each spot, you're going to have developed a feel. And that'll take us to our next phase. So the next phase of training is we want to make it a little more difficult, right? I gave you a huge landing and rolling out area in the first view. Now we have 2 alignment sticks, just identifying our landing area. First alignment stick you want to go over, second alignment stick you want to go short. If you don't have alignment sticks, you can use golf clubs. Just understand that if you're using golf clubs, there's a possibility you'll hit one and it'll kind of deflect it, but don't worry too much about that. The goal is simple. Land it in that area, somewhere in that area. Just going to move these back so that they're more in line with my landing area. Anywhere in there is fine. And then you're going to work trajectory. You're going to try to go high, medium, and low to see the difference. So I'll go high first because I know that's the shot, so you guys can see what we're going for. And then the next 3 will go through the trajectory shots. Okay, not too bad there, a little short, but to be expected. This is a very downhill shot. So the first one we're going to hit low. It'll go through the green, no doubt about it. We don't care about that. We're just picking a landing spot, hitting to a landing spot. Okay? Obviously that's not the shot for this particular up and down, but it's all about our landing area. That's what we're training here. Next, open that face up a little bit. Mid trajectory, we'll say, anywhere from waist to chest high. Or really low, because it got caught in the rough, but you guys get the idea. So let's do that over again. There we go. Again, still just a little too much. So on our third shot here, we're going to go very high, so above head height. We're on a downhill lie, so we got to really commit to this. Really open that face up. A little high, but still stopped even shorter than the other ball. A little long, I should have said. Just get our feel here. Well, that one spun, so we got away with it. But again, we are on a huge downhill slope, so getting the height, maybe not so easy. Maybe it's easier to get spin. So I chose this shot for a reason. And the biggest reason was because I want it to be as hard as it can be for your particular skill level. This drill is all about committing to a landing area regardless of the situation you find yourself in. So it's a mental training tool. Trajectory doesn't necessarily matter. In fact, now that I've hit a few, I know that spinning it is a better choice. So we're just going to put a little more spin on it. Yeah, not the best. Rough is thick. Haven't hit out of it in a while. Just like so. That'll probably go in the hole. Come on. Alright, so now you can kind of see, like, you want to fail at your particular skill level. You want to work on your weaknesses. Alright, so now you can see the sticks are even closer together. So essentially what I want you guys to do, if you're a beginner, start with the easy part. And as you progress through, I want you guys to work closer, smaller landing areas to a point where, you really want to get it to where you can land it on a coin. And that's what I normally practice, is landing it on a coin. So after you're done with this, grab a head cover, try to hit the head cover. And then from there, throw a coin down, throw some tees down. Just keep making the spot smaller and smaller and smaller, and only work on short chipping. That's all you need. Don't go hitting flop shots. Don't hit a ton of bunker shots. The majority of recreational golfers are going to score better if they just get good at chipping. Alright, so for my final trick of the afternoon, or the morning I should say, I'm going to hit these 4 shots in between my stakes. Just kind of give you guys an idea of how to actually do it using full routine. So first, going to start here with the fringe. Recommend all beginning golfers really work on the feel of hitting that spot, which is all I'm working on right now. Not too worried about aim. Just want to get it right between those sticks. Just like that. Okay, so I'm not thinking about my technique. I'm just thinking about hitting it from here, about this high, landing it right there, letting it roll to the hole after it bounces over the second stick. So really use your visualization and imagination here, guys. Again, just give yourself a couple to feel it. About right there. Just like you would on the course. See your landing spot. Land it on your landing spot. Just like that. Okay? And then when you get to a little more rough, it's the same thing, right? So you got a little grasp on the ball. Find a little spot in the rough. You always see the pros do this, right? Trying to feel it. So now, it's a little too much. There we go, nice and smooth. Land it in our spot. Let go. A little far, but still a tap in, right? Which is what we want. All right, so judging out of the rough's a little more difficult too, right, guys? It's not, this isn't as simple as hitting it off the fringe. So we're just gonna feel. Right between our spot. There we go. All right, so good luck with this, guys. We will see you next week, where we're gonna discuss how to take this shot to the next level, which is getting further away from the hole, and also trying to make shots from this range.